What's up YouTube, Capital G here talking about Maxx in this video and why I believe that Konami and the TCG is about to put this card back at 3 on the limited and forbidden list. Yep, on the next ban list, I personally believe that they're going to move Maxx back to unlimited status. And I know a lot of you guys will be like, Cap G, that is crazy. Are you pulling stuff out of your ass? You got some inside information, your cousin worked at Konami or something like that? No, none of that. It's based on certain things that have transpired over the last 24 hours, and this is not something that I've been sitting on and thinking about for weeks and weeks and weeks, because on my ban list prediction video I said that I thought it was more than likely that Konami and the TCG was going to kind of ignore Maxx and just leave it at 1, and we would just have to deal with it. However you feel about Maxx at 1, I mean, it would just kind of be tough cookies. But I feel like because of what they've done with the Extreme Force Special Edition, I've kind of changed my mind and I've changed my position on this. And also, let me just point out that it's pretty clear that Konami and the OCG thinks that moving Maxx towards, limited status or towards ban status, closer to the opposite side of the spectrum as we have it, clearly they think that that is a bad idea. And sometimes Konami and the TCG does their own thing. Sometimes they completely follow Konami and the OCG's lead, like when they banned the Dragon Rulers, and then like 4 months later or something like that, the Dragon Rulers got banned in the TCG. But I think it's really interesting that Konami picked the cards that they did for the special edition. I'm not really going to talk about the Mech Knight Avram because I don't really think that that's all that relevant. The same thing goes with Galaxy Eye Cypher Blade Dragon. That's just kind of, a jump promo that is, I think, like $8 or $9, maybe even as high as 10. I'm looking at the card specifically, Psyframe Gear Gamma, and then Called by the Grave. Like, I'm looking at those two cards, and I find it a little puzzling that Konami put both of those cards in the special edition. Not so much Gamma. I feel like if Konami would have put Gamma in there, that would have been more than enough to actually sell this special edition. We were already happy when we realized Gamma was getting a reprint. Everybody was like, oh hell yeah. A hand trap that sees prominent meta play, that is played in Spirals and Invoked and a whole bunch of other like top tier meta decks, is getting reprinted. It's a $30 card that is now probably going to be about a $5 card. Like, what player wouldn't be excited about that? Now, instead of spending almost $100 for your Gamma set, you're now spending, probably less than like $20 at the most, maybe 20 or something like that. So I think a lot of people would have been significantly satisfied just getting Gamma in here, and I don't think Konami is stupid. I know that if they would have just put Gamma in here, they probably know that they would have been able to sell the Extreme Force Special Edition. But my question is, why did they throw arguably the strongest, or what some people are calling the best card from the entire Flames of Destruction set? Why did they throw that in here as just a super rare, as something that half of the players who buy this are going to get? Why did they throw Called by the Grave into this set? I know a lot of people are going to say, Gee, why are you complaining about them throwing incredible value into a set? I'm not complaining. Let me just make that clear. I'm not complaining that Called by the Grave is in here. I keep wanting to call it Designated to the Grave because I've gotten accustomed to saying that. It's mind-blowing because Konami does not have a history of doing this. If you look at the OCG currently, I believe off the top of my head, the most played card is Maxx. Most people would kind of assume that. The second most is Ash Blossom. Most people would also assume that. But like in the third and fourth spot is this new card, Called by the Grave. This is arguably the most meta-defining card, or the most meta-impactful card in the entire net set. Konami does not have a history of giving us those type of cards. They have a history of taking those cards that, sometimes are printed as commons and rares, and rarity bumping the fuck out of them. I mean, I could go on for days about all the egregious rarity bumps that we've gotten in, the history of Yu-Gi-Oh! I can go back to the GX days and looking at Dark Arm Dragon when it was a rare. Then it came to the TCG, it was a secret rare, and it was $250 at release, and everybody was like, damn, Dark Arm, playing any Dark Arm decks is gonna cost me my right testicle. So Konami does not have a history of this. For anybody out there that is thinking, oh, Konami's just being nice, Cap G, they're just not screwing us over for once, you really think all these years of evidence that they're just going to completely turn over a new leaf? Like, I don't believe that. Obviously, they want Extreme Force Special Edition to sell like hotcakes, but I feel like if they put Gamma in there, it was already going to sell like hotcakes. Why give us one of the strongest cards when you can pull a typical Konami and just kind of upscale it to secret rare? A lot of YouTubers were saying that. They were saying that they expected the card to be secret rare. And when I first talked about it, I was like, it's a good card. Then I actually had the card played against me, and I started seeing all the potential of it. Not only is it a hand trap stopper, but in the mid to late game, it pretty much becomes kind of like an effect veiler or a breakthrough skill, Fiendish Chain type negation for a monster that's already on the field that's trying to activate its effect. It's also a little bit of a DD Crow, potentially disrupting cards like Soul Charge, Call of the Haunted, and stuff like that. So when you look at this card and you look at how much ground it covers, I don't think that Konami is oblivious to this. I believe that Konami and the TCG often look at the OCG before they really start determining what the rarities for the set are going to be. They probably look at the OCG and they say, okay, this card's seeing a ton of play. This is an anime card. We gotta, have that as a decent rarity. This is a cover card. It's gotta be a secret or an ultra. I think that Konami actually looks at the meta and the OCG and they say, what is seeing play out of this set? Those are the cards that we probably want to move to, ultra rare and secret rare and stuff like that. And yeah, occasionally we get a card like Destrudo. I don't know why I could not remember that card's name, but you guys know, yeah, sometimes there'll be a card like Destrudo, a really good card, and it just so happens that it's a common or it might end up being a rare, even though based on the card's playability, it might actually merit like being an ultra rare. Destrudo is a prime example. If Destrudo was an ultra rare coming out of Circuit Break and it ended up being like a 9 or 10, maybe even a $12 card, I don't think anybody would have complained because of how good it is in ABC and because you can use it in like Lightsworn variant. Some people play it in Zephyr, so I don't think people really would have complained if the card had been an ultra rare. I think most of us were actually kind of expecting it to be a high rarity card because of how strong it actually is. But I look at this special edition and I just keep asking myself the question, why would Konami give us a meta defining card so easily? This is so outside their character. I can't remember the last time that they've actually done something like this. And I'm not talking about like a big reprint set where we get Minerva and Omega and a whole bunch of like reprints. This is a special edition where we're just getting 4 reprints. Like all the other cards are from Extreme 4s. And I know that there is some evidence out there that works against my crazy CapG conspiracy theory, and actually it was put out there by Konami themselves. If you guys remember back when Maxx first got semi-limited in the TCG, Konami had a post on their official Konami blog, and it was kind of explaining the ban list. And I'm going to paraphrase here, but Konami was basically saying about Maxx, they didn't like how it kind of froze your opponent, and it left them on a little bit of like an unfinished board where they would be punished either way. It was kind of a damned if you do, damned if you don't. If you do finish your play, you're going to give your opponent a billion cards, and obviously they would have a massive advantage, especially if they were going second, because if you can't attack turn 1, how much of a imposing board can you really make if your opponent has 57 cards in their hand? And then if you just stop your play, then your opponent could still kind of be the aggressor because your deck didn't fully realize its potential. So Konami, like conventional wisdom would kind of say, CapG, you're completely wrong here. There is no fire. There isn't even any smoke. Konami has already come out a year and a half ago or whenever the hell they semi-limited Maxx, and they kind of alluded to them not really liking the card. But what I think is at play here, I think Konami is sick of people complaining about Maxx being at 1. And this is the part where you can apply your own personal opinion to how much to kind of weigh how much validity my argument actually has, because you as a person watching this video, do you like Maxx at 1? Because I'm under the impression that almost nobody likes it at 1. Everybody wants Maxx to be either at 3, where you always have the card, or some people are just saying, to hell with it, Cap, just get it out of the game. At 1, it feels completely luck-sacky, and whoever draws it first just has a huge advantage. And I think this is one of those times where they're looking at the OCG, even if they don't necessarily agree with it, I think they're following their lead. I mean, Konami never really spoke about the Dragon Rulers in the TCG. The OCG just banned them, and then Konami just kind of followed suit. I think that they're looking at it, and they're trying to like basically appease both parties. Because if you're one of the players that hates hand traps and you don't like Maxx and you're kind of sick of them being the meta, Konami can look at you and say, hey, don't worry, we're giving you this brand new card. It's called Called by the Grave. It smashes hand traps. Even if your opponent activates them in the draw phase, you can just hard counter them easily, not even a hard once per turn, and it's going to be super cheap, so everybody can get one incredibly easily. And then if you're somebody like me that wants Maxx at 3, Konami can turn to me and say, hey, we did what you wanted. We put Maxx C at 3, so you guys got more Maxx Cs to counter the, spam link plays that everybody's doing. And again, even though I'm not complaining about this, I definitely do think that there is something awry here. I think that there is something about to come down the pipeline. I think I saw in Timo's video where this is going to be going on sale like a couple of days before a YCS. So maybe Konami drops a ban list right at that time. They put Maxx C at 3, and then they say, hey, both sides can't really complain, guys. Buy our product, play our game, be happy. We really don't even have to slow the game down on the ban list now because we just gave you guys multiple Maxx C, and you can't complain about that. But maybe you guys think that I'm completely off my rocker. If so, leave it in the comment section below. And again, if you think that there is no credence to my argument, please explain why Konami would give us a card that they easily could have made a secret rare. It would have been probably $45 at the minimum. It would have sold the entire set of Flames of Destruction because we know how good it is. Like, explain why they're giving us that card essentially for free for like $5. That is not the Konami I know. So anyways, whatever you guys think, leave it in the comment section below. Thank you guys for watching. As always, subscribe if you have not already.